What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel. I am joined, as always, each week by Rob Morse. And, our picks haven't been the most amazing picks for you so far, but small sample size. We like to say small sample size over here. Rob, you feeling like we're going to have a better weekend this weekend than we have in the past?
Well, it probably can't get any worse, knock on wood, so I hope
We got
so.
to get away from the Padres. I think that's the issue here. So Dodgers playing the Brewers this weekend. We've got a 4-game series, and so let's jump right into tonight's game. Thursday night, Trevor Bauer on the mound for the Dodgers, Eric Lauer on the mound for the Brewers. Rob, you pointed out in text messages, Bauer versus Lauer at happy hour. So that's what we've got going on. The Dodgers are the favorites, minus 210 on the money line, and the total is 7.5 if you want to bet the over or the under. Some introductory remarks on this one. Eric Lauer might sound familiar to Dodger fans. He was a Padre back in the day, actually has made 7 starts against the Dodgers in his career. 2.11 ERA, 5-0 record, 43 strikeouts, 42 and 2/3 innings. Against everybody not named the Dodgers, Eric Lauer has not been nearly as amazing. I think his ERA is hovering close to about 4.5. On the other side, you've got Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer, very familiar with the Brewers. Last year, you heard a lot of people talk, he never faced any good offenses. Well, he faced the Brewers 3 times, did really well. 6 innings, 12 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 6 1/3, 4 earned runs, got roughed up once in the middle there, and then the last one, 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 12 strikeouts. So overall, sub-3 ERA, more than a strikeout and a half per inning, a sub-1 whip. For Bauer against the Brewers. One last number I'll throw at you. The Brewers 6-4 in their last 10, coming off of losing 2 out of 3 against Miami. Dodgers 3-7 in their last 10, so a little bit of a rut there. Minus 210 is a number that just scares me. I don't like numbers that high, but I understand why it's that high because I really do like the Dodgers on this one.
Yeah, I like the Dodgers too. I think this is a huge mismatch on the mound. Eric Lauer he's not very good. I mean, he's making his season debut. Uh, the Brewers are a first place team, but it's not because of their offense. So their pitching staff has been shouldering the
Yeah.
load. And I just don't think Lauer's anywhere near as good as the rest of his rotation mates. And you've got Trevor Bauer, who, we know is an excellent starter. He's gone at least 6 innings in every start this year. He's, racked up the strikeouts. And this Brewers team is bottom 5 in the league as an offense. So I'm actually looking for an alternate spread here. I saw that the Dodgers minus 2.5 is plus 150.
Okay.
And last weekend, I think the last couple weeks we've been bitten hard by taking Dodgers at such big minus numbers, but I think this one could really get out of hand with the Dodgers kind of having an easy time and winning big. So minus 2.5 plus 150. I don't love the total. 7.5 seems about right. The team totals are interesting on this one. The Brewers team total is actually 2.5. The juice is pretty expensive on the over. So if you think if they're really just going to get shut down by Bauer, you could go with the Brewers team total under 2.5. But for me, it's just the Dodgers minus 2.5 at plus odds too.
Yeah, and it's worth noting with Lauer, by the way, Lauer, I meant to mention this. He wasn't supposed to start today. They've had some injuries in their rotation, and so Peralta was supposed to start. They move everybody back. They bring Lauer in. But yeah, the total is an interesting one. I was going back and forth. It's funny, every time we've been on, we've talked about how much the Dodgers love the under. Well, they've now gone over 6 consecutive games, their last 6. They are now basically 500, 12 overs and 13 unders. The Brewers have gone over 3 straight games. A couple other stats I found interesting. Dodgers are 20th in the league as far as OPS against lefties this year. Lauer, of course, a lefty with just a 371 slug. Milwaukee against righties is 26th in OPS and just a 358 slug. So you would think maybe under there. No real bullpen arms unavailable, although the Dodger bullpen has been pretty bad this year, so I'm not sure that's an advantage or a disadvantage. But so I kind of want to lean under a little bit, but I also, with Lauer on the mound, I'm not sure I can convince myself to go under there. So I like the minus 2.5 for you on the Dodgers. That's kind of where I would prefer to live, is just sort of get me closer to even money or a little bit plus or a little bit minus rather than a huge money line at minus 210. So I think I'm hearing both of us staying away from the total, but we both like that alternate line on the Dodgers. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let me give you a couple props here that I found interesting. By the way, Dodgers team total 4.5. I kind of like that. If there's another number there I like. Here's a couple fun ones. You tell me if you want. Dodgers minus 0.5 runs in the first inning. So basically, Dodgers to end the first inning with the lead is plus 245. Or if you want to go money line and leave yourself the opportunity to tie if it's 0-0 or even 1-1 is minus 160. I kind of like that just because I want to bet on Bauer versus Lauer as much as possible. That's kind of one opportunity to say, hey, does the top and the heart of the Dodger lineup get to Lauer in the first versus can Bauer shut it down? So that's one I like. Another one, AJ Pollock, minus 122, minus 120, we'll call it, over 1 total base in this game. This is a guy who career has hit lefties really, really well. He struggled a little bit this year, but the last week, his OPS is back over 1,000 over the last week. So I kind of like Pollock there against the lefty. And then the other one I like, this number has shifted, but Trevor Bauer, the line on strikeouts was 8.5. It was at about minus 135. I think it might be up to like minus 155 where I was looking, but Bauer has gone over 8.5 strikeouts in all but one start this year, and I think he had 8 strikeouts in that start. So you mentioned the Brewers strike out a little bit. So those are the three that are intriguing to me at the very least. Any of those jump out to you?
Yeah, I think that Bauer strikeout number is pretty good, going over 8.5. He's I think like you said, he's gone over 8.5 at least 4 times in his 5 starts, and those were against better hitting
Yeah.
teams than this Brewers club. The first inning one, I'm not too familiar with that. It's hard to score runs in the first inning. Obviously, 3 outs and you're out of there. But I think that plus money is nice, and you figure you're getting a Seager at bat, you're getting Mookie, probably getting on base to start things. So that's not a bad look either.
Okay, well, let's go into the rest of the weekend. It's an interesting one, this, because when we've done Padres, we knew exactly who the starters were. As you see on the screen, Bauer versus Lauer Thursday. Friday, the Dodgers have not announced a starter. They've kind of hinted at a bullpen game. There's been some rumblings. Maybe David Price is the starter in that one, although not as like a 6-inning guy, but maybe a 3 or 4. They do have Dennis Santana in the bullpen, although he's worked a couple times. Mitch White is another long reliever, starting pitcher type who could be available. Saturday, you've got Dustin May versus Woodruff, and then Sunday, you've got Urias versus Burns. So as you look at these matchups, obviously we can't really say much about Friday's game, but maybe looking ahead to Saturday and Sunday, May versus Woodruff, Urias versus Burns. What are you looking for there as far as either money lines or totals, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so in general, I like to make my bets based off where I think I'm of a different mindset than the baseball group think. The baseball, fan base, as a whole. So if I'm higher on a pitcher than I think the rest of the market is, if I think he's still underrated, I'm going to look to back that pitcher or that side. Like for example, I don't think Freddie Peralta's reputation has caught up to just how good of a pitcher he is. So I think the Brewers are probably going to be undervalued on Friday. So I'm going to look to see if I can get the Brewers at plus 130 or better on Friday against the Dodgers bullpen game. I would also look at that first 5 under, if you can get it like under 4 or better. I think as we've seen, I know the Dodgers bullpen hasn't been great lately, but bullpens
It's being
tend to
generous,
suppress
Rob. We
the
appreciate the kindness there in relation to the Dodger bullpen.
Yeah, and most likely, Bauer will go pretty deep on Thursday, so they won't really be needed. And if it goes as expected, they're not going to be using their top bullpen arms in a 4 or 5 run game on Thursday.
Yeah.
I really like the Brewers on Friday against the bullpen.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. One thing I saw, so after Lauer on Thursday, the Dodgers are going to face 3 straight right-handed pitchers. The Dodgers are actually second in baseball OPS-wise against righties, so I do think there's some value there for the Dodgers. They've struggled against lefties, but they get 3 righties. Of course, Peralta, Woodruff, and Burns are very, very good right-handed pitchers, so don't read into that. One other note I found on Peralta that was interesting, 10 walks in his last 20 innings. So if that is an issue that continues to crop up for him, the Dodgers are not the team you want to be facing. We know they have lots of guys that have no issues working counts and taking walks, so that could work in the advantage. But I'm with you. The Dodger bullpen's been really bad, and so if you're telling me even if David Price starts and we pencil him in for 4 innings, which feels generous, if I've got to get 5 innings out of the rest of the Dodger bullpen against a really good pitcher in Peralta, that one would scare me a little bit, I think. And I would say if there's another one where I would lean away from the Dodgers a little bit, maybe on Sunday, just like the Dodgers have capitalized on righties, the Brewers are much better against lefties. They're 3rd in baseball in OPS against lefties. Urias is the only lefty they're going to see in this series. So he's been inconsistent this season. He's had 2 really great starts and 3 kind of starts. So we'll see. He did pitch against the Brewers back in 2019. His first start, he got roughed up 6 runs in 5-inning pitch. The next one was great, 6 innings, 1 hit, 9 strikeouts. So if I have to lean, obviously Burns is amazing, 49 strikeouts and 29 and a third this season. So Burns, Urias, that'll be interesting because we've talked about, are the Dodgers going to be underdogs at any point? Sunday, I'll be really curious to see if they're the underdog.
I don't think they will be. I think their offense is still too good to be underdogs against an offense as mediocre as the Brewers. I would actually be possibly looking at an over on Sunday. There's no doubt Burns is thinking of that, strikeout to walk record, right? Like I think he has 49 strikeouts and no walks. And in his last start, he was trying to avoid issuing that first walk of the season. And he ended up giving up some runs because I think he was leaving the ball in the zone a little bit too much, trying not to walk somebody. And so, and like you said, Urias has been giving up some runs in a couple of his outings. So I think the reputations of both pitchers are very good, and that could lead to like a lower, maybe like a 6.5 total for Sunday. And so I might look to try and get an over 6.5 with Urias against Burns.
There you go. Yeah, coming off his worst start, as you said, 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. This is after 4 starts previously where he had allowed 1 total earned run. So it is interesting. Urias is another guy that pounds the zone. So a lot of strikes going to be thrown on Sunday, and you've got to imagine that those are a couple offenses that are going to be ready to pounce. Again, Milwaukee, not a good offense, but they are good against lefties, 3rd in baseball in OPS. So there you go. There you have it as far as this weekend's game. Thursday, we're kind of staying away a little bit. Rob threw out an alternate line that I think is interesting. Dodgers -2.5 with some plus money. I like the team total. A couple weird props for you. A.J. Pollock over total bases. Trevor Bauer over 8.5 strikeouts. If you want to get crazy with the first inning stuff, it's there. Rob likes Peralta and the Brewers, depending on what the number looks like against the Dodger bullpen game. And then the over on Sunday with Urias and Burns. And I would look a little bit there to see if you could get some value with the Brewers, if they are really the underdogs, given how they've hit lefties and how good Corbin Burns has been. So hopefully we have a better week this week. I think the Padres were throwing off. Things have normalized a little bit more, so we're feeling good about this. Rob, I appreciate you joining us as always. 4-game series should be a great one. Lots of great pitching this weekend. Well, at least until we get into the Dodgers bullpen, that is. Hopefully the Dodger offense continues to pick it up and we get some exciting baseball. So that's Rob Morse. You can follow him at @RobMorse_ on Twitter. I'm Jeff Spiegel. We appreciate you watching. As always, we'll leave you with the words of Vince Scully.
The best team holding a trophy high in the air. The Los Angeles Dodgers, champions of the baseball world.